Hello and welcome to Superintendent's Corner. I'm Brandon Jackson and joining me is Boardman School Superintendent Tim Saxton. Thank you for being here.
It's always a pleasure to be in the BSTN studios.
It's been a very busy few weeks. Let's start by talking about the State of the Schools community meeting. I was there taping it for BSTN and the turnout was incredible. What was your impression of it?
Well, first I agree. We were dreaming or hoping we would get 500 people, but to get at least double that, that's just incredible. It just goes to show you this is a topic that is near and dear to the heart of the community. The schools are important to the Boardman Township, and they came out to hear what we had to say. Since I've been with the Boardman schools, either as a student or as an educator, I don't ever recall having a State of the Schools meeting so people realize this is different. This is something we needed to attend.
And in the week or so since the meeting, have you gone through the comment sheets and read what the groups were saying during the breakout session?
Absolutely. We thought it was important to not only to let the community know, be transparent and let them know what was going on, how we got here, and what our game plan was to get out, but very important that our goal has always been to make a bridge and a connection with the community. So we didn't want to just have a one-way conversation that we were talking to them. We wanted to make sure that we get feedback and input so we could shape that plan. So if you've been in my office the last couple of days, you would see the stacks that we've been going through. And there's a lot of common themes. I would say emotionally, or one of the most common responses was shock, surprise, fear that the Boardman Schools was in this situation. And when you reflect upon that, okay, why shock and fear? Just a quick history of the Boardman Schools and what we've done with communication. For years, the schools were just an entity that served the community. I don't want to say in isolation, but we weren't in a competitive state. Things changed in the educational realm, and open enrollment came on board, charter schools came on board, different types of scholarships came on board, and all of a sudden we were competing for kids. And other schools realized they want Boardman kids. They started advertising our district, trying to get our best kids, and we realized we couldn't just sit there and take it. So we had to market and make sure we were recruiting our own kids. So we wanted to make sure we were communicating about all the great things the Boardman Schools has done. So we've done that over the last 3 to 5 years, making sure that people are aware of our fantastic programs. Underneath that, behind the scenes, is we've been working with this funding formula and making the finances and the revenue work. And that's not something we put out there. So all of a sudden, when we put that out there, people weren't aware of that. And that's just because we haven't been putting it out in the media, out in front, because it's not something that we normally would proclaim. We want to make sure we're recruiting the good kids. So I understand why there was some shock and some surprise, but this has been happening. We've just been working quietly behind the scenes to make it work and balance the funding.
And while you were mentioning the meeting that was just so recent, you explain what the Plan A and Plan B was. For the people who weren't there, could you take some time to explain that? Sure.
Some pretty original names there, Plan A and Plan B. Because the thought and the hard work didn't go into the names, it went into the plans. But let's take Plan A. I just want to make it crystal clear. Plan A is independent of the levy result. This is something we have to do. This is what we've been doing to stay lean, but we got to get deeper into lean mode because of the hospital situation. Plan A is over $500,000 trimming of our expenditures, and it's through a word that maybe we could explain a little bit better that night. Is called attrition. Attrition is when someone retires, you do not replace their position. It's a nice, fiscally efficient way of trimming down. So we have about 11 positions, teaching, administrative, classified, that we will be trimming down in Plan A, and that stays. That's happening no matter what. So that is Plan A. Plan B will be a response to what happens on May 8th. Plan B only goes into effect if things do not go our way on May 8th, but Plan B trims an additional $1 million. I think another misconception with Plan B is that it is a permanent fix if we do not get the additional funding through the levy passage. It is not. It's just a temporary bridge, a very thin Band-Aid to get us to school year 18-19 so we can still educate students and keep the state from coming in and taking over some of our finances. So it's an opportunity just for us for one more year to stay afloat and keep our head above water. But the details of Plan B we're taking a look at cutting about 13 positions, and that's teaching and administrative. That's one part of it, but there are also cuts in transportation efficiencies. There's in our cleaning, how we do our cleaning processes. We trim down in those services, but also in some administrative services, and also in athletic fees. Athletic fees will increase. To put that whole package together, it's over $1 million. Again, that's just a Band-Aid. It's not an answer, just a Band-Aid.
And at the recent school board meeting, the board voted on a reduction in force as a precaution. What does that mean?
Well, a reduction in force, the term is usually called a RIF. And basically that is Plan B. Plan B means you are suspending contracts. That is governed by Ohio Revised Code, it's governed by school board policy, and it's governed by negotiated agreements. So you can't just say, hey, we're doing a reduction in force. There's a process. And what we did at the board meeting is really a big step one in that process where we present the plan to the board, and the board officially approves that. And now that is an official public action, so that everyone knows exactly what Plan B is. It goes from theoretical to actual practical. But it was worded that it's dependent on the outcome of the May 8th levy. So we'll know on May 9th whether we tear that up or put it into action.
And I understand Boardman School District has just received a Clean Audit Award from State Auditor Dave Yost. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, that is a source of pride, a source of honor, because a lot of people say, okay, I see a lot of districts get that across the state of Ohio. What's the big deal? But we got to understand some of the financial transition we went through. Our treasurer took a new position last February. We had an interim treasurer, and the treasurer took the position last February was a replacement for a treasurer that went on a leave of absence 2 years prior. So we had a treasurer from the county, and now we have a permanent solution. We have a fantastic treasurer in Nick Trinello. So sometimes when you have some of those transitional moves, you can worry about that maybe that some people aren't necessarily talking to other people, but that audit shows you that all those people that were in those different positions did a sound fiscal job and a nice clean audit. That's a real badge of honor for our treasurers.
The month of March has been insane for us in BSTN. I'm sure it has been for you as well. And I know I saw you at Project Mayhem, which was the most recent just last Friday. So for anyone who hasn't seen Project Mayhem, how would you describe it?
You know what? It is something that words won't do it justice. You had to be there. And actually, it was so crowded. I actually watched from up here in the studio, and was a great view because you could see the crowd reacting to the music and the talent of our kids. And I will tell you, even being involved with this district since 2002 and seeing several Project Mayhem, I kept having to remind myself, these are high school kids. These are high school kids. The talent, the passion they had for the music, the stage awareness, the comfort level. Boy, to imagine these ran from 14 to 18-year-old kids doing this with directors not on the stage but behind the scenes, just letting them be kids and letting them enjoy the music. Boy, to me, it's one of the pinnacles of what we do here with the music and the arts, because you brought in a lot of different groups, and it wasn't just orchestra, but a lot of groups. And the fact that I'm a kid from the 80s, so when you play some 80s rock, you're going to pull some heartstrings with me.
And I know that you're also at the National Honor Society ceremony just recently this week. Is there anything you'd like to say about that?
Well, I could say as a superintendent, to go from a fantastic performance Friday of the music and the arts, and then go to Monday to see kids being not everyone thinks this is an academic honor. It's not. There's pillars for the National Honor Society in scholarship, which is academics. This is just one of them, but there's also service. There's also leadership, and there's also character. And so these are kids that are doing it in all four realms and doing it very well. That's a very unique kid. A lot of opportunities at Boardman, and that's why you see 85 juniors get inducted, 6 new seniors, plus the seniors that were inducted last year puts us over to 150 membership. Some people say, whoa, that's way too many. No, that's because of the programs we have and the avenues that kids can plug into so they can fire on all 4 of those different cylinders. It was just a great night. And I have to be honest, I did have 2 daughters involved in that, so it was nice to also be a dad that night. other than just being a superintendent.
Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Saxon, for Superintendent's Corner. I want to wish everyone a happy spring break, and for BSTN, I'm Brandon Jackson. Have a great day, Spartans.